Hello and welcome back to this channel. My name is Muhammad and today we are talking about knights. And now people have heard of knights a lot, whether it's from fantasy or history, they're used a lot. Now, what is a knight? They are a knight's a person that's granted the honorary title of knighthood by head of state or the representative for service to the monarch. Yeah, they were warriors who either served the Lord, who either served the king or a lord or the church. That's what I picked. Now, the concept of knighthood itself may have been inspired by like ancient Greek Pythias and Roman equites, which are which were ancient cavalry, which were the horsemen for Roman and Greek, and it carried on. And in the early Middle Ages, knighthood was mostly considered among the mounted warriors, the cavalry. Oh yeah, knights also follow this have also been known to follow this code of conduct called chivalry, which I think the term comes from the French word for cavalry, which is chivalry. Mm. But yeah, but the knights were often vassals for higher lords. They they're a rank of nobility. They're they're pretty low on the ranking, but you know there are benefits to being a knight. When when they're a knight, they're like given lands or fiefs by the lord that they're serving, and in return they have to fight or act as their bodyguards. The lord the lord that they are serving would also provide them with weapons, food, armor, and all that stuff. During the Middle Ages, knighthood was also closely linked with horsemanship. As knights were cavalry. That seems to be cavalry always seems to be elite troops for most middle-aged armies, I guess. Even Japanese samurai were cavalry, and thus being so low. And knights were also mostly the ones that performed the jousting, as one would know. They served as elite fighters for the lords or their bodyguards, as I've said before. And yeah, now the term knight comes from the Old English word of nit. I don't know if I said that right. Which in turn also comes from the German word Knecht. Now, nit means boy or servant, Knecht means servant, bondsman, or vassal. However, over time, the meaning changed, and eventually, at some point, nit became knight, servant became a military follower of a king or the superior. And yeah, hey, funnily enough, apparently, no, the knights have are known to be the chivalry was their code of conduct. It's the rules they follow of being the perfect Christian warrior. The code of conduct for the perfect courtly Christian warrior, and yeah, the heavy cavalry of Christendom have found during finds there is a parallel in the Islamic world called the Furusiya. Yeah, it's this an Arabic knightly discipline and ethical code. Now, knight life cycle. Knight. Uh, no, knights usually they have to be born of nobility. Though in some cases, commoners could also be knighted as a reward for their military service. But other than that, knights had to be born of nobility, typically as sons of other knights or lords. They would be cared for by noble foster mothers in castles until they reached the age of 7, And when they reached the age of 7, they they were given the title of page and are turned over to the care of the castle's lords. They would be placed on early training regimen for hunting with huntsmen, falconers, and academic studies with priests or chaplains. Then the pages become assistants to older knights in battle, carrying and cleaning armor, taking care of the horses and packing bags, and would accompany the knights on their expeditions, even into foreign lands. And older pages were instructed by knights in swordsmanship and equestrianism, chivalry, warfare, and combat using wooden swords and spears. When the when a page turns 14, that is when he is eligible in becoming a squire. He becomes a squire in a religious ceremony when he swears on a sword consecrated by a bishop or priest, and then is attended to assign duties to his lord's household, which during the time the squire continues training in combat and were allowed and is actually allowed to own armor rather than borrowing it. Squires, they are required to master the 7 points of agilities, which is riding, swimming, diving, shooting different types of weapons, climbing, participation in tournaments, wrestling, fencing, long jumping, and dancing. I don't know. And these were the necessary skills for knighthood, and they have to be performed even when wearing armor. And upon turning 21, the squire would be eligible to be knighted. And they would be knighted during the accolade or a knighting ceremony, which is usually during one of the great feasts or holidays like Christmas or Easter, or sometimes at the wedding of a noble or royal. The knighting ceremony usually involved a ritual bath on the eve of the ceremony and a prayer vigil during the night. And on the day of the ceremony, the would-be knight would swear an oath, and the guy that's hosting the ceremony would dub the new knight on the shoulders with a sword. You know, I guess that's what they do in Squire. This could also be conferred direct knighthood early if they showed valor and efficiency for their service, such as such acts may include deploying for, which may be like deploying for an important quest or mission, or protecting a high diplomat or a royal relative in battle. Uh, yeah, I think that's all I wanted to talk. I think that's all I'm gonna talk about for today. And yeah, like if you're still here, thanks for sticking around. Goodbye.